God, that's so stupid.
Didn't realize it was that time. I was too busy giving Marco shit. Time just flies.
Hello, welcome to Pals Pulls, everybody. This is the Comics Pals Pulls. That's hard to say. This is our show where we talk about weekly comics. Let's just get this out of the way. Cale, you're here.
Yep.
Marco, you're here.
What's up?
Sean, not here. I think he was at Universal Studios last night. I don't know where he is today. Sean is traveling the world of Orlando.
Not swimming.
He's swimming?
He's not. I hope he's not swimming.
Okay. Well, I think he dodged the hurricane, so he's okay.
Okay.
He's good.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But we're not here to talk about somebody who's not here. You know what's here? Books is here. And my grammar isn't. But we have 5 books this week.
How many?
Five and some change. So we have Miss Marvel, the New Mutant, #1. One of the other Fall of X books. We have Ultimate Invasion, #3. Incredible Hulk, #3 as well. Then we have Batman, Catwoman, the Gotham War Battle Lines, #1. This is kind of like the intro to this new event going on in those 2 books. And then we're ending it with the end of an event with Night Terror's Night's End, #1. Essentially the omega of this Night Terrors event. So yeah, we got some 5 books there. But if you want to, kind of help decide what books we talk about, we have a poll up that'll be up tomorrow on YouTube, the YouTube community tab. But we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/thecomicspals, where you can subscribe to that. You get some newsletters. I just put up one yesterday where Cale and I ranked the Muppets.
That's right.
That's something you can look forward to.
I forgot that was happening, and then I just see a message to Cale in our chat going, "You ready to rank the Muppets?" I'm like, "What is going on?"
Yeah. So that was fun. You can help influence the book club results. The book we picked for the book club.
Correct.
The one that won last week, and it should be coming out Tuesday. This coming Tuesday is Invasion, the DC Comics event Invasion. If you're part of the Patreon, you already have access to this. But for everyone else, it'll be out on Tuesday. Some good discussion about that already. So I'm excited to see what the general discussion on that will be once we kind of dive into that for the general audience. But you know what we should dive into? I was going to say Miss Marvel.
Yeah, we can dive in.
No, all right. That was a weird segue, and Sean's not here to yeah. So yeah, this is Miss Marvel, the New Mutant #1, with an interesting creative team. So this is written by writers Sabir Pirzada and Iman Vellani, who you might recognize.
Whoa!
Can't believe this.
As
Wait,
Now you have
what?
Now you have to be in the MCU to write for Marvel.
I guess so.
Bar just
so.
it keeps going higher and higher.
Yeah, so this is Miss Marvel herself writing Miss Marvel. Art by Carlos Gomez, Adam Gorham, colors by Eric Arciniega, and letters by Joe Caramagna. This is Kamala Khan's first, not first, but like big intro into being part of the X-Men section of the Marvel universe. We got the little bits in Hellfire Gala and X-Men with Jerry Duggan, but this is like her new book finally. After we had the death of Miss Marvel, 2 months ago?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That?
So what'd you guys think of this one? Marco, I'm curious what you got to say about this.
Structurally, it was fun. It was a pretty simple story. You have Kamala with this recurring dream and this overwhelming fear that she's now become this mutant. Or not fear, but worry that she's become a mutant now that she has like a specific target in her back. And she's tasked to spy on Empire State University's Orcus branch. And I thought that was an interesting angle. That seems cool. Like I like a sort of slice of life in school story. It feels very manga-esque. And so I like the setting.
It's very Buffy Goes to College.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And I thought it was fun. I thought it's a good setup. It's a good premise. I thought it was written well, paced out well. The I think my only gripe, and we'll probably talk about it, is the fact that she debuts as a mutant here while trying to be undercover and uh and effectively spy on Orcus, and day one fails. Or not fails because they don't know who she is quite yet, but I think the fact that it's out on Front Street that Miss Marvel is now a mutant instead of just having been Miss Marvel, like considering nobody knows and nobody would have remembered, the simple story I felt like would have been, well, Miss Marvel just steps in and saves the day. Nobody thinks otherwise, and then she goes back about her business, and nobody, and then Orcus isn't, doesn't get a red flag alerted. Contrivance, but I had fun.
It felt a bit weird to me that she put on her new uniform modeled off the 1970s X-Men uniform, and all of these college age freshmen, they can't be Gen Z, right? These kids got to be younger than that.
Gen Alpha.
Yeah,
Is that a thing? Oh boy.
they all went, hey, she's an X-Man.
I mean, the giant X on her belt and shoulders might be enough.
I mean, I don't know.
I enjoyed this. I think this book had a lot of heavy lifting to do in the first issue. In terms of reestablishing who she is and where she exists in this world. And also still making it feel like the other stuff counted. Like, her supporting cast is here, like Bruno's here. You know, it's cool to see Bruno in this, like one of the original Miss Marvel characters. But like, it references her past in the Champions, her past in the Avengers, her past as an Inhuman. Like, you saw some of the friggin' Charles Soule era Inhumans in the background of a couple of things here. And it even references like when she fought alligators in the sewer with Wolverine in like one of the early Miss Marvel issues. So there's a lot of, I want to say fan service, but like, it feels purposeful at least.
Yeah, 100% agree. Like, a lot of those beats I didn't know, and so it's cool to be like, oh, that's neat. She was in the, like, yeah, I remember the Champions because they come in and cry over her and stuff, and then I'm like, oh yeah, the Avengers, I kind of remember that. So it was cool to see those things reflected. That was fun. It was a good walk through memory lane, and for me, who's not as in depth or as deep a reader of Marvel, it's nice to be like, oh, this is a deeper pathway. I can go back and explore more if I'm interested.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. Yeah, it also like felt like this felt like the Iman Vellani part of it too. Because if you've ever seen any of her interviews, or like, for Miss Marvel or for the press for this book, she's huge into like, she's like a lore nerd for this stuff. She's a continuity nerd.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Even she's like an MCU continuity nerd too. Yeah.
She's the next Kevin Feige.
Honestly, but she's very much like Kamala in that way. So that kind of had her fingerprints on it, I feel.
In that way too, it didn't feel as new writer as it probably should have. Like, it was better than I expected it to be. But there were still moments where, especially with every other character going, whoa, it really felt like a new writer voice. You know what I mean?
We should also note that her co-writer, Sabir Pirzada, one of the writers for the Miss Marvel TV show as well.
Okay. His
credits, not much for comic books either. It's pretty much Marvel voices, so like short stories. The Misery miniseries that's currently ongoing, which is like a symbiote thing. There's a lot of symbiote books going on right now, and then this. So there's not much. But I agree. Like, this didn't feel like new to comics writing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and especially from Iman Vellani, who I think a lot of people would pin it on if it were bad.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, it feels cohesive, it feels honoring of what's come before, and it feels like good comics.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't feel like at any point this was new writer. it's it was a good story, honestly, and
Yeah.
I forgot that she wrote it, and then you flagged that again. I'm like, oh, that's right. Like,
No, it's not like it's on the cover in big bold or whatever, but it's fine.
you know,
This kind of it gave me like Unbeatable Squirrel Girl vibes, like just like a young teen fun book, even though it's in a very depressing era of the X-Men in terms of what's happening in the larger scale of things. So you have
The X-Men,
just
really.
genocide happening in the background, but you kind of have to implant this cute little college age superhero capes and cowls book at the same time. I
thought it
love,
was to that point. I thought it was effective, right? Because we have it
yeah.
being this darker, I guess, era, but this feels just charming.
I don't need Frank Miller's Miss Marvel. Like, I don't want that. Like, this is what I want in
Word.
a Miss Marvel book.
Agreed, absolutely.
And I think the Carlos Gomez art it's good. I like it. It's a Jamie McKelvey designed costume. That much I know.
Yep.
He came back to redesign her new costume for X-Men.
Yep.
And I guess he really liked the back row of Burnside because she's got some bright yellow Doc Martens on, which I love. But
That was actually Amon's request.
really,
Oh,
okay.
yeah?
Yeah.
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 Oh, that's awesome.
Oh man, I love that Batgirl Burnside arc. That's some good comics.
I love that
It's-
costume.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And again, I love the X hand wrist piece. I think those are so cool. One of the best McKelvey designs.
Oh, I see it. Nice.
The only knock I would give the art is sometimes I could not tell what age they're going for Miss Marvel. Like I know she's a high schooler in college or like doing an
into
internship in
college.
college. Sometimes it feels a little like, oh, this is a cheesecake Mary Jane cover.
Listen, baby. It's all Fruity Pebbles now, baby. She's in college.
Boy, all right, I'm not gonna touch that one. Marco,
Yeah.
I was gonna say don't touch that one either.
I wasn't planning on it.
Liar.
Art was tight. I had no complaints. It services the book well. Yeah, structurally carries the story along. Like all in all, everything about this was just a tight comic. Easy pull.
Yeah, I think this is a pull for me. I think this is one of the ones out of this Fall of X line that I'm enjoying, mostly because it doesn't feel like the other ones.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
This is the Fall of X book I think I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
The one.
This is the one.
Genuinely. I actually enjoyed this.
Until the end.
It would be a normal pull for me, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a pull. I recommend it.
I love Kamala Khan's character. So like the fact that she's gone so long without a proper ongoing book, before this it made no sense to me. Her show was coming out and she didn't have a book out. Like it was stupid, honestly. And I like this. I like how there's that kind of that mystery in the background that her mutant ability has not surfaced yet. So it's like, all right, what is it going to be? We don't fully know, because or if it ever will manifest itself. It's going to be the MCU stuff, though. Let's be real. She's going to have crystal powers. Yeah, it's crystal.
You think?
Crystal. Oh, it's got to be.
Yeah. She's gonna be stretchy Green Lantern.
It's kind of cool, actually. Plastic Man, Hal Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. This feels good.
Yeah, I kind of want to keep following this. We'll see where it goes.
I think this was my pick of the week, actually. If I'm looking through the rest of the books.
Oh, not mine.
Not yours. Okay. Interesting.
That cover, the Sarah Pacelli cover.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was Sarah Pacelli.
I did not know until you just said it. But that tracks. Matt Wilson on colors on that as well.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of good covers for this too. There's I think there's a Adrian Alphona cover that harkens back to the original Miss Marvel #1. There is that's a Betsy Cola homage variant actually. There's the Art Germ one which I use for the thumbnail. Yeah, there's some good ones here. And apparently a car accident outside Marco's window. But yeah, I think Catherine in the chat is asking, should she pick this up?
Yeah, I think so.
Great starting point for Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
If you're already interested, absolutely.
Hard agree.
It's way better than anything her death ever alluded to. So, like, if we had to grind through that meat grinder to get it, you know what?
Sure.
Now that we're on the other side, I'm all right with it.
Yeah, sure. Although I'm still not used to Wolverine being called Talon now.
What?
X-23.
Oh,
she goes by
that's
Talon
right,
now.
right.
I don't. No, not feeling that. Bring her back as Wolverine. All right, comic book nerd coming out of it. Speaking of comic book nerds, you know what nerds love? The Ultimate Universe. So Ultimate. Oh, hell yeah, nerds are. Ultimate Invasion #3. This is by future friend of the show, Jonathan Hickman. Pencils by Brian Hitch. It's called Manifesting, guys. You got to put it out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Let's let him ultimate invade the show.
Yeah. Pencils by Brian Hitch. Inks by Andrew Curry. Colors by Alex Sinclair. Letters by Joe Caramagna. Interesting. It lists Donny Cates as other on this League of Comic Geeks thing. Is that because he allegedly plotted it or something like that?
Probably, yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
I bet that's not something people are supposed to know.
Yeah. I don't even know if that's official and should be on this page, but whatever.
Yeah.
Ultimate Invasion 3. So I actually had to read 1 and 2 to get caught up to this.
Okay.
Or sorry, 2 and 3. I read 1. I don't really know what to say about this. I don't know what this book's trying to be, and I don't really understand what's going on. It is... I love Hickman. I love Hickman's writing.
Here we go.
Yeah. This is a compliment sandwich right now. And I like his way of thinking, and by the time I'm done with the Hickman story, usually I'll come back around to it.
Yeah. Yep.
But I'm at the stage of the Hickman story where I just don't know what's going on, and everything's kind of emotionless because it's so high sci-fi. It's very Dune right now, where it's like just actually that's giving it too much credit because Dune's actually good.
This feels like West Wing. Like this feels like
it's all walk and talks.
Walk and talk.
Super talky.
Yeah.
And nothing happens.
We learn things, but I don't know what end, well, I don't know to what end they are important.
Yeah.
You know, like I have an understanding that okay, there's this group of people who over the course of history will take the fall as like the bad guy, then they will reset.
Yeah.
There's a new like to unify. I get that, but
I
I
like
don't get
that too. Yeah.
It's interesting, but I don't get the why yet.
Exactly.
Well, I just don't know how it connects. So like to this is an interesting concept, but to what end is going to pique my interest and want me to come back?
That's where I'm at. This is all concept right now for me, even though we're halfway through it.
More than halfway through it. Somebody in the chat, 4.
This is the 75% marker, baby.
Yeah,
Jesus.
penultimate.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. I don't. It really just feels like they needed a step to reintroduce the Ultimates line, and this is it. And they needed to Hickmanize it to sell it. I'm not feeling it. Like, there's no emotional tether for me here because all of the Ultimates characters I know and like are not in this.
Yeah.
This is like this weird alternate Ultimate universe that doesn't have the tethers I need to care about it.
And even
like,
worse,
I like the Maker, but he's barely
even
in this.
worse. Yeah. Nothing's happening.
No.
It's real slow right now.
I mean, spoiler for the last page, we get Ultimate Kang, which I don't know if he ever actually showed up before. I don't know the status of Ultimate Kang, but
In
we
an
can
Iron
all
Man
agree.
suit.
We can all agree that's Tony, right? Like that's Junior Ultimate
his
Tony or
son?
whoever that.
I don't know.
Beardless Wonder is.
I thought
what
it was, but I don't
It's
know
definitely
how.
who it was.
But I don't know. I don't get how it ties into him. You know, like I don't know why yet. I don't get it. So
Yeah, well, yeah.
well, I guess that's part of it. Yo, I do want to say though, Reed Richards being the man in the Iron Mask, that was kind of cool.
You mean Doctor Doom?
Is it?
Is it not Reed Richards?
I don't know. Like the C.W. Gordon in the chat says, this is truly a bizarre issue of a comic book. It's just people talking to world build. Yeah,
In issue 3 of 4.
yeah. It almost felt like if, if a Star Wars crawl had to be made into a comic book,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
but it doesn't even have the cool music, like without the John Williams score. And that's not like, I think the Brian Hitch art is good. Like I think it fits for what it's doing.
I mean, I feel
think
bad for Brian Hitch that he had to
Yeah,
draw a bunch of people standing around talking.
that it's not his strong point either. His strong point is splash pages and sci-fi
Yeah,
techno shit. So
At least they were all weirdly shaped and in costumes, I guess.
Sure.
But like,
yeah, like I mean Brian Hitch has been he's like, I don't know, has he been watching Hitchcock movies lately? I feel like every time there's a close up of somebody, it's like a canted angle for Brian Hitch in this. But yeah, I don't know why he's doing that, but I think it's good. I mean, I sometimes bag on Brian Hitch, but I think Hitch on Ultimates feels right. This doesn't feel like Ultimates is the only issue.
It's interesting that you say that because I don't have context for the Ultimates, so
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
currently
You were just a
building
Veb.
my framework
Yeah.
for what it is, and right now it's vapid.
Yeah.
It's fluff at the moment, and I understand that there's a nostalgia attached to it, but I don't have that, and so like just looking at it for what it is, it's Hickman work. He's doing his high concept shit, but it's not engrossing me because I'm just confused.
well, and I think even the worst part is it's not even comparable to the old Ultimate stuff, the nostalgia angle, because nothing is happening.
Yeah.
We don't see
agreed.
familiar faces either.
Yeah, there are no familiar faces. That nobody's punching anyone. This again, this was an issue where they confirm a sort of half-baked conspiracy theory, and that's it.
And I gotta say, it's not doing a good job of getting me excited for this Ultimates line relaunch. Because like if I care, like, and this is where it's like, all right, what's the point of this then? Because is the Ultimates line going to be a relaunch of what we're reading here and these characters that we're being introduced to here? Because if that's the case, don't care. Or is it a relaunch of the characters we knew and loved in the Ultimate Universe? But if you're relaunching it, shouldn't you start from the beginning? So like it's weird. It's such a weird, convoluted thing to do that I don't know why they're doing it.
CW Graded makes a good call out. Like it's building a world, and I think I'll grant it that. But we don't know the future, and we have this epilogue that seems to be important, seems to allude to stuff, but like this new Kang, which okay, fine, you can time travel. For whatever reason, everybody's like worshiping, and fine, okay, this is the future, but I don't see a connective tissue.
Yeah, not just everybody is worshiping Kang. This is our heroes who are worshiping Kang. This is
Right.
our, our ultimates who are doing that.
Right. And yeah, to his point, why should I care about that at the moment? What's even pointing me to this direction?
That's my main issue with this. Is like I don't care. I don't know who these characters are. I don't care about these characters. The fact that they are weird mirrors to characters I do care about is not enough for me to start caring about these characters. The reason why I cared about Ultimate Peter Parker is because you sat with him for 10 years, you know?
Yep.
You grew up with them. Same for the Ultimates at that point. Like,
And they're like clones, right? Because you see multiple
I don't
Captain
know.
Americas. I don't get it.
it could. Who
Yeah.
knows? I mean, if it's Kang, it might just be extra time displaced people. But
Sure.
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. Roboters in the chat says it honestly feels like Marvel just wanted something for the summer months and decided with an ultimate take. I don't think so, because I think there are plans going ahead. I mean, we have this whole line coming out in November. But
Yeah.
And I have to imagine that whatever was, whatever's going on with Donny Cates that kept him from writing this, I have to assume, it's been a filtered through, watered down thing. So even still, like it's good, probably because Hickman's on it, but also what's here? What is this? There's got to be more.
yeah,
So well, next issue we'll find out.
There's one
Reveals
more left,
all.
so we'll see. I don't think anything's gonna be revealed, to be honest.
Yep.
But our listeners did reveal to us that they wanted us to read The Incredible Hulk #3.
Yes.
So this continues the run by Philip Kennedy Johnson, art by Nick Klein, colors by Matt Wilson, and letters by Corey Pettit. This is my jam.
Yeah, dude, this slapped.
Yeah, this was fun
Slapped
stuff.
hard.
My pick of the week.
Same. Yes. Cale.
Was it
This
the weirdly religious church being destroyed by a
That too.
Lovecraftian monster?
I did enjoy that a lot.
Man, Go for
I
it.
recently finished the BBC version of the Golden Compass series, his Dark Material series, and I have a new favorite character in Azrael, who's like this general who decided that he was going to build up an army and confront God. And I think that's my new favorite type of character.
I see.
So when Hulk said, "Come on, then," I went, "Hell yeah!"
yeah.
Yeah, so to give context, this whole Hulk arc is that the Green Door is kind of peeking open again, that we saw in Al Ewing's run, and these elder gods that exist in the Marvel universe have pretty much either through a spell or something have I guess reanimated and reactivated any kind of mystical monster thing that the Hulk kind of comes into contact with. So it's the Hulk roaming the country, and weird horror shit happens everywhere. And this one deals with an old mining town that used to be, I guess, controlled and used to worship this underground old god. And this is the second issue.
Brother
of that
Deep.
arc. Yeah. As much as I think this story is cool, like I like that as a story, I like horror, and I think Philip Kennedy Johnson does great horror stuff. His Alien stuff was a little bit of this too. His Last God stuff, it's very Lovecraftian at points, with the high fantasy. But god damn, this is Nick Klein just putting everything into this. And Matt Wilson, one of the best colorists ever.
Doing his
I
whole Kleinussy.
You could take away the words in this, honestly, and I would still enjoy it just as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like I think he has these like really pulpy colors that just helps bring this the pulpy colors, the texture on the art, it makes it feel like an older, like run down issue kind of. All of this is just oozing mood and attitude. Man, so much fun. And a simple ass story. Like nothing complicated.
Yeah.
He says stupid kid fell in a hole. All right, yeah, I'm gonna come save you and beat some shit up. Easy. This was candy, man.
Yeah.
And I like how the dynamic is a little different, because we've always had, Rick Jones being Bruce Banner's sidekick and stuff. And this is a younger girl who's seen some shit.
Yeah.
And has dealt with some shit, wanting to be the Hulk sidekick. And him kind of...
Not Bruce Banner's, specifically.
Yeah. And him kind of being like, you know what? I like your moxie, kid. I like your chutzpah.
Mm-hmm.
And him being cool with that now. I don't think I've seen that before. Maybe since like Scar, but that was a different dynamic, really.
Well, and it's already so different because Banner is on the run from the Hulk,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
and the Hulk is out for Banner, which is already an entire a wild take.
The Hulk
Yep.
sounds like he wants to separate them too, when it's usually been the opposite.
Oh, he wants to like keep them together.
I
Banner's
don't
always
know.
wanted to separate the two, you know. But it feels like the Hulk wants to do that now.
I don't know. I don't know if he wants to separate it as much as he wants to like eat Banner. Like I think he's done.
I mean, I would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I like about this too is that I love monster of the week type stuff. You know,
Yes.
like a Buffy, like a Doctor Who, like that's
Yep.
I just like being able to jump in and stuff. And I guess with TV it makes more sense because you can just watch whatever and you can still understand what's going on. But in a way, like this feels like that as well. And the premise lends itself to that. Like next issue is a Man Thing issue. Like hell yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Love it.
So I really like the formatting of things that we could potentially get going forward. Like, I mean, like Elsa Bloodstone's got to show up down the line, you know. Maybe some Werewolf by Night. Like, I think the opportunities are there for some really fun stuff that I don't think Hulk's touched, really.
Yeah.
So,
Or at the very least, I think it's a good mechanic for this character.
yeah.
And I think this is the monster of the week format fits this character. Like I don't know that you could do this to a Cap and it's the same effect. Like I think you need
Sure.
longer narratives or a bit more depth than, some dude walks around and beats some shit up and it's mystical and whatnot.
Marco, issue 5, he's fighting something called the Swamp Siren. So
Ooh,
we're going down your muck hole right now.
Bro, he's already green and he's walking through horror shit. Easy. You could have put this Swamp Thing in this. I'd been like, yeah.
And there's
nice,
a
good shit.
Ghost Rider crossover. Whew. Yeah, this is I love this stuff.
The one criticism that I agree with is from Top Lane here in the chat. Says I have to say I was not impressed with the Elder look, and I think I agree with that. I think that the look of the Brother Deep is a bit generic.
Yeah, it felt like Warcraft boss, you know.
That barely that.
Yeah.
Oh, the monster?
Yeah. Toss some lines on the paper, color it gray, give it some arms and a mouth, like
So Francavilla looking thing, yeah.
barely, like. But I think it's also the sort of thing that probably wasn't supposed to be around.
And
So
and top
make it
lane,
look scary,
Yeah.
and top lane's also
yeah.
mentioning, like, is Hulk now a horror character over sci-fi? I think so, honestly, and I'm okay with that. I think in
I
my
like it better,
head,
frankly.
yeah, me too. In my head, like the Avengers should each represent a different genre of comics. Cap is war comics, Iron Man sci-fi, Thor is fantasy, Hulk would be horror. And he always, the original Hulk was kind of this monster horror. He was described as a monster first and foremost that
It was
had a
Jekyll and-
sci-fi origin. But
It was Jekyll and Hyde.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So I think it always had its origin and its toes in horror proper, but it just kind of became this. Oh, it's cool that he can smash things. It became the action book,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think with Al Ewing's run, and then this continuing that, I think that's cementing his place as like the cornerstone of Marvel horror, which I'm totally cool with.
Give me more.
Yeah, I like this run a lot. Yeah, it's
Yep.
weird. I think like before Ewing's run, if you told me like, oh, Hulk might be consistently one of the better solo Avengers books out there, that would have kind of blown my mind. But yeah, I'm excited to see where else we go with this. Even though
Hard pull.
I gotta finish Al Ewing's.
it's in omnibus form
Immortal?
now, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, damn. That probably
I
looks
probably
really
won't
nice.
get that.
Yeah, that'll be a nice bludgeoning tool. That's why I have Omnibuy, just in case I get a home invader. I got a weapon in every corner.
Omnipodes.
Omnibuses. All right, let's swing over to the DC side of things, and let's talk about Batman, Catwoman, the Gotham War Battle Lines #1. This is by both writers of the current ongoing Catwoman and Batman books, Chip Zdarsky and Tini Howard writing this, with pencils by Mike Hawthorne, who did the most recent Batman arc where he goes to that like alternate universe. Inks by Adriano Di Benedetto, colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr. And yeah, there. If you were in the DC Comics section of our Discord, people had some thoughts about this book. This was an interesting one. So essentially, the premise is, like, I think I can safely say none of us are reading Catwoman right now, right?
No.
Okay. So apparently Catwoman in her book has been kind of rehabbing a lot of the henchmen from the big villains, so like Penguin's henchmen, Joker's henchmen, Two-Face's henchmen, and then giving them the skills to perform heists like she would to prevent actual deadly and harmful crime from happening. Her eyes, crime is going to happen.
Crime.
These henchmen are going to do crime no matter what because of the situations life has given them. Let's teach them how to do it so nobody gets hurt. And that's kind of been her MO. She's broken some people out of prison to help her out with that. And that's that story there. Then you got Batman in Chip Zdarsky's run, who will not stop being Batman. This dude is burning the candle. There's no more wax. It's just wick at this point. And it's kind of a mess for him. So now you have those two opposite ideas kind of conflicting and coming to a head in this book. And I gotta say, I've never seen an issue of a comic that I can so clearly tell who wrote what. It's, sometimes when we see the, multiple writers, like we just talked about Miss Marvel, we could take guesses as to where the delineation of writing might be. Like, no, yeah. I can tell you, I can pick out the pages of this one. I can tell what's Teeny stuff, and I can tell what's Chip stuff. And I didn't dislike this. I did like it, and I think the premise is interesting. But I don't know how they're gonna pull it off. It seems like the premise is interesting, but the resolution would be swift and easy.
Yeah.
It feels weak.
I don't know that it feels weak. I think they have something interesting that they can work with. This reminded me of, remember in The Wire where they have the Tyler, where they're one of the police lieutenants has like only a certain block radius where you can buy drugs, and he's like essentially legalized.
Amsterdam,
yes.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So it reminded me of that, where there's a set number of people who are going to do drugs. Regardless, there will be a market that is not something that can be prevented, but you can consolidate and you can pocket those things to benefit a larger community. And this is what that reminded me of was, yes, you're not getting rid of crime. You're altering it so that it impacts less people and it hurts less people. It has less of a negative effect, but you cannot remove said negative effect 100%. And if we're have that understanding, then the best way forward is to continue to minimize the impact it can have and maximize the potential, not benefits, but the people who would get harmed otherwise won't. And I think that made a lot of sense, and it made me question Batman's importance. And I thought that was interesting because I don't think I've ever had a comic go and be like, well, I mean, yeah, but can he really do all these things? And I know the meme is he has infinite money, he throws the money at the problem, but this was an actual solution getting presented and it not having a clean outcome, it having a more impactful outcome, but ultimately Like Batman's still gonna beat up villains, and they're still gonna do crime. That makes sense. So then let's find a way to mitigate. That made sense.
I think on paper this all makes sense.
It is on paper.
Yeah, it is. But there's no way Batman's going to allow, in any sense of the word, anything called crime to happen. He is the enemy of crime. And yes, the idea of him having to come to terms with maybe realizing that his way of thinking and his way of working is not the correct way could be interesting. But like he shows off in this issue, he's like, he even like gets mad because Catwoman's like, yeah, we're just stealing from the rich. He's like, yeah, my parents were rich, you know?
Word. I was like, oh, hold on a second, Batman. I felt a little weird.
Meanwhile, Dick Grayson's kind of trying to step back in the background, like, oh, I'm the only rich one here. Let me,
Such a fucking. He came across as such a fucking baby.
Yeah. Very mature.
He did, yeah.
I think a lot of the dialogue in this issue was just like, these are not these characters. Like,
Batman felt very immature across this, yeah.
Yeah, this feels. It feels bad. I don't.
I'm gonna just get frustrated when this gets washed, right? Like when we reset, Batman's back out there stopping crime. Crime goes back up, and he's like, "Ooh, there's no correlation. There's no causation. It's just correlation."
Well, and the other part of all this, too, is that it's not just Batman and Catwoman in this town. It's not even other villains in this town. The end of the issue is one of the robber vigilantes getting shot by someone who doesn't want to be robbed. Call it self-defense, that's still a murder. Like,
Yeah.
crime is still gonna happen.
What are the stand your ground rules in Gotham?
Have to imagine they're pretty strict.
Pretty
Lax.
Florida heavy.
There's gunfire is my point.
Yeah. They're probably erring on the side of the gunfire, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't really feeling this. I think the other thing, and like I like Mike Hawthorne as an artist. I don't like him on Batman.
That's the thing that bugged me the most was the symbol on his chest.
Very much so. It felt like
Batman?
I was looking at Fortnite Batman.
It looked like I drew that.
It was like this is the continuity nerd in me, but like Batman costumes are of eras, and you kind of have to keep a continuity with it.
Yeah.
This was it almost felt like a like I don't know, like M&M's put out a new free comic book day Batman M&M's crossover comic.
Yeah.
Raytheon just put out a new Batman themed comic going out to kids on Scholastic book nights, you know?
Right.
It felt like one of those, and I like Mike Hawthorne's art. Hawthorne was it there was like a big image book that I remember Hawthorne on. I think he also worked on he worked on Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool. And did he work on Astro City as well?
I don't think so.
That doesn't sound familiar.
I could be wrong on that, but.
I thought, solid art, thick inks, really thick lines.
Yeah.
Which it's not a bad thing. It's a stylistic choice.
C.W. Gordon points out that the logo seems similar to the Zeranar logo, so it could be a hint at Bruce losing some control. But I kind of think that's being pretty generous.
Yeah, he doesn't have a Rorschach mask as a costume, you know?
It looked like the fat one from was it Dark Knight Strikes or Dark Knight Returns?
Sorta, yeah.
It was
I just
weird.
think the dude might have been in a rush and had to slap it down, you know?
That was fine. I'm interested. I'm interested to see how this plays out and I'm curious if this is what's going on in Catwoman's book, then that's immediately interesting to me.
So you're more
'Cause-
interested on the Catwoman end of things.
I'm interested on in her concept and her rationale because I think it makes sense, and I'm interested to see how that plays out in her books. Because I think I'm okay with having a different way of thinking about crime for for Gotham, and I think pitting the ideologies against each other is interesting, and so that part to me is intriguing at the moment.
Just don't see this resolving in a way that's going to be interesting. I don't feel like this will say anything new.
Sure.
We're not going to
think I
finally
agree.
get the thesis book on how Batman is just beats up the poor and people of color constantly. So
And to be honest, I think if it were just Chip, maybe I would have more confidence in that.
yeah,
I am not a Teeny Howard fan, and what I've seen here doesn't help that.
I typically like Teeny
So-
stuff, especially the stuff that Teeny's been working on on the X-Men side of things with like the
The
Captain
magic
Britain
stuff.
the other world side of X-Men. I've enjoyed that, and I love Chip. I don't know how they mesh together though. They're not very similar in style or what they like to do, and I hate these crossover events that are like, well, if you're reading Batman and you only read Batman, you're going to be having a little time jump each issue because you didn't read the Catwoman book in between. And I don't want to read Catwoman right now. I'm sorry. It's not a book, not a character I really want to read about. So, not the best start, especially after this whole Night Terrors thing, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I'd rather just talk about I'd rather just read a Batman book. Like, give me back to what Chip was doing with Batman. I was enjoying that. But now I'll just have to stick with World's Finest. World's Finest is my saving grace right now in DC.
Is my Batman book.
Yeah.
Top Lane also points out the Jason bit at the end. Awful.
Nobody knows who
And-
Jason Todd is anymore.
The rest of the Bat family, I didn't think was any good either.
Damn, I like that part. I'm like, that tracks.
Bro,
What, the whole Bat family at a strip club?
No,
the Kitty Cat Club.
the Jason piece.
Well, maybe because you don't, I think you're. How long have you been reading Jason Todd comics? How many Jason Todd comics have you read, Marco?
Wasn't he in like 3 Jokers or something?
God, you're referencing the one character assassination book. Like nothing against Jeff, but that Jason Barbara Gordon stuff was
Ooh, I was a little
great looking book. Though.
iffy.
Great looking book.
Great looking book.
It was fine.
Beautiful book.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. This is a pass.
Hard pass, man.
Ooh, contrarian pull.
Ooh, a contrarian pull. All right. Well, when we have 3 on the show, we can do that. So, let's finally just pull the plug on
Me.
this comatose event that is Night Terrors, with Night Terrors Night's End #1. This is by Joshua Williamson writing, Giuseppe Camuncoli, Trevor Hairsine, Howard Porter on art. So you don't even have a guy Casper Wingard, and you don't have who was the other one that worked on the previous issue? I forget, but like 2 out of the 3 of the artists that you had on the main Night Terrors book aren't even on this. Let me see. Let me get those artists right now.
Yeah, you do. Hard.
Oh boy,
Howard Porter. Oh no, that was this one, right?
So this felt mostly Howard Porter. The main things are the main events and the action scenes are Howard Porter, and I like Howard Porter. I enjoy Howard Porter's art. This
I
was
don't know if I do.
It's way too loose, buddy.
This was
Yo.
a mess.
This
The
was
coloring was hard.
it's a shame because the colors were by Frank Martin, who's probably like top 2 colorist right now for me. But there are panels in here, and I didn't bring up any panels. I forgot to do that. Sorry. But there are panels in this book that are faceless blobs of creatures, and like Detective Chimp is maybe drawn with a face twice in the 6 times he shows up in this book. It looks like if Dan Mora is like a finely crafted penmanship, like it's like calligraphy, Dan Mora, it's very specifically chosen, every line, and it fits a certain way. This is your dad's signature of art.
This is a doctor's signature.
It's a doctor's signature of art. Yeah. It is just scribbled on there. To the point where like I couldn't really tell what was happening a lot of the times.
It felt like nonsense. Like it didn't feel like anything happened. Like there was action, but it was just like blobs of color. Like it was nothing. Like
this is the most I don't even know if it's disappointing is the word, but this is the least fun I've had with a comic book event. Whew, since like Civil War II.
My man didn't read Heroes in Crisis with us.
No, he's an apologist.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
right.
at least Heroes in Crisis had a story I can track, and it tried to do something different.
I mean, listen, I can track this story. It's not good, but I can track it.
Yeah, but what is this trying to do different? Have Sandman have a spotlight? Like, I don't know. It was frustrating.
To be fair, then the art matched the story. He's like, Heroes in Crisis look good. You're right, dude.
Yeah,
Clayman.
Clayman.
This is a shame. This is a shame because I think the fact that they bring back Sandman as like a concept, they're introducing Deadman and like these creepy characters. They should be represented, I think, visually better. I thought this to wrap up the story, like we don't even get consequences for some of the monsters that came into the real world. They probably happen, in the back in some of the side stories, but it's disappointing that we don't see that here. And then the goal of Insomnia was to get Deadman on his side. Like, our families died. That's sad, right? We should both be sad about that, and we should both want revenge because of that. And Deadman's like, bro, I went to therapy, dude. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm better.
That's got nothing to do with Deadman. Deadman doesn't have a family.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's dead.
Right.
He never had one.
No. He's never had a family.
What are you talking about?
Never. He has one brother that Hound. Correct me if I'm mistaken. Died way before he was ever Deadman.
I think that the thinking here is not that he's getting his family back, but he's getting the family he never had.
Right.
But like he's used to not having a family. Why does he want one?
But I thought didn't the book open with didn't the Alpha issue, whatever it was called, like lead with the history of his being part of the circus and him dying with his family alongside him?
Yeah, the circus, but he didn't have a wife and kids.
Was that not them in the? Am I getting that wrong? I swear there was a moment in that first issue that had that.
No, he did not have a wife and kids. I'm telling you, he did not have.
I trust Cale's knowledge on Deadman. Don't you have a Deadman action figure behind you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. The Kingdom Come one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. The point of this was that Insomnia was trying to give Deadman what Insomnia wanted. And that's why it didn't work. It's because Deadman didn't actually want that.
Here's the thing. We talk about this, and I still don't care.
Well, and as we found out last issue, it's all bullshit. Like the the Justice League said evacuate, and he said, nah, it'll be fine.
Oh,
And then they all died.
Yeah.
So, like, it's all dumb anyway.
And the way they dispatch like the night, what do they call it? Sleepless nights or whatever the evil versions of the Justice League were. It was like, all right, Zatanna, you're a Deus Ex Machina right now.
Yeah.
She literally looks at them and says "unnight" backwards, and then they're destroyed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, you can do all that.
Couldn't do that 4 issues ago.
Yeah, seriously. Can you just say "unread"? So I can forget about this.
Yikes.
Wipe my mind.
Yeah, no, and then all this is leading up to seed the next event, which is Beast World, right? That Titans event coming up.
Yep. The 6th time that
With
Beast
Dr.
Boys.
Hate.
Dr. Hate sipping that haterade.
All right, okay, that's the comic book world we live in.
Yeah, this is a hard pass. This event is a mess. I hope some of you guys, I know a lot of you read the tie-ins. I would love to hear which ones were good. I cannot imagine it was very many of them.
The Batman one's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But this was a wash.
Yeah, major
This was a
pass on
nightmare
this.
This was a nightmare of an event.
And major pass on the event. Yeah, so book and
Yeah.
event I'm passing on.
Yeah, inconsequential. It's not as entertaining as I think one might want an event to be.
And like, I hate that it has to be consequential to be something I like. I think you can be an inconsequential book in terms of the grand scheme of things and still be good. Like, I don't think books need to matter.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
also, like, we did Invasion, which was a similar thing where you had to be reading the whole line.
spoilers. It's not out yet, Cale.
Well, I mean, we've announced what the book is.
Fair.
You have to be reading the whole line to get the full picture of what's going on in this event. And now I'll get into spoilers. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Unless you're spending $6 a book on these things.
$5.99.
Yeah.
Plus tax.
All right. Well,
Sure.
at least
But
that's the end
even
of it.
worse,
Yeah.
I'm not finished.
I'm so checked out of this book.
Like, even worse, like, it's a horror event, which we don't get. We never get.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
in the big 2. And that's like what we were excited for. And this was nothing. It wasn't even scary.
Spook factor non-existent.
It's not spoopy.
Right,
But yeah,
now I'm done.
yeah. So those are our books, guys. But we're not done quite yet because we got a little what you're reading. So the Devil's Cut Distillery's new sampler book, or not sampler. Well, I guess I'm hungry. It's not like an appetizer sampler. It's more like a
Slider?
no. It's not a slider. That's called an ash can. It's a book with a whole bunch of little stories in it. So we were planning on doing this for the main show, but the three of us are digital people mostly. Marco mostly, if you can get to the store in time.
Yeah.
So yeah. C.W. Gordon. It's an amuse bouche of comics. But so Sean would have probably picked this one up because it's only physical right now on their Twitter/X. Distillery is like digital plans in the works. I'm like, it's 2023, buddy. You can't be launching without plans already. And they've already announced titles and everything going forward.
Wasn't that their whole deal? Was that they were going to be a
Like an
full-time
NFT,
digital
not
platform
NFT thing.
at the
That's
same
right.
time? Yeah.
I
Not
know.
NFT. Not NFT.
We're gonna talk about that on Saturday. I have some thoughts on that I want to get into. But I went out. I drove a half hour to All Yeah Comics to get it, and they had the Becky
Nice.
Cloonan cover. So here's what I can say.
Oh, it's a big book.
Yeah, the boy's thick. And it's one of those like Batman Damned type formats too, the more squarish one.
Mm.
No dicks in this though. So,
Well,
but the production quality very good. It's got like a matte and a glossy finish to the cover, so it feels really nice. It's a good feeling book. The paper is super thick. So I think when they talked about they wanted to be a little more boutique and a little more higher grade because it's a $10 book. 88 pages, so decent amount. But yeah, the only D is on the cover. It feels good. The quality is there. It's real good. And I read it. Yeah, I could take or leave a lot of the stories, to be honest. But the art's really good in it. I think the stories were a little weird in the sense that like, right, some stories got 4 pages, some got like 10. So the delineation of like who got what was a little weird, but like there is a Becky Cloonan and Tula Lotay story and drawn book about like I think it was like vampires or something like that. That was up my alley. There was Francavilla doing a old god type story. I mean, revolutionary, I know. But it was good. And then it opens with the opening story was really good too. That was Christian Ward and Tinian doing something in the beginning too. Very oddly paced story, but it looked good. So I think I'm interested. I think this did its job in so much that it got me interested in the publisher. I don't know if these stories are ever even continuing in it, because I know the book that got announced for Becky Cloonan, I don't think is this book that was introduced in here, so who knows? Some of them do end on cliffhangers, so maybe those will be continued, but I think they have the quality is there in terms of the talent and the production on it, so I'm intrigued, but man, you gotta let me read this digitally. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I live in a single bedroom. I don't have room for books anymore. Come on.
Give me the option.
Yeah, exactly. But interesting.
But
I think you'd like it, Marco.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you listed off 4 artists right there that immediately piqued my interest.
Were there any
there's a
that
really good
you-
Mirka and Adolfo story, too, that I like. So Elsa Charretier is on here, Mark Bernardin.
Chartier.
Stephanie Phillips and Joelle Jones had a story. There's a Jock solo one. Oh, there's like a 3-pager Brian Azarello, Eduardo Riso like Western story, but it's like watercolor Riso, and it's really interesting. Scott Snyder and Francavilla. Oh, there's a Jamie McKelvey story
Yeah.
as well. So my lighting is really weird right now.
Was there anything that you read in that you're looking forward to?
I think
picking up?
if I got more of the Becky Cloonan, Tula Lotay stuff, and I got more of the Mirka and Dalvo stuff, that's what jumped out to me the most. Which I guess is cheesecake. Interesting. But I love Becky Cloonan art. I have Becky Cloonan art behind me over there somewhere. It's that red and blue one near the door. I've had Becky Cloonan art in my apartments for nearly a decade at this point. There's definitely talent there that I'm excited for. But we also wanted to talk about something that wasn't a comic book. So Marco brought up, we talked about Ahsoka last week, and people seem to be interested in that. Marco brought
as
up
a comic book.
True, he did. That's right. But turns out the One Piece Netflix show is real. The One Piece is real, and we checked out at least episode 1.
Yeah.
I got it. I'm 4 deep right now. So
Yeah?
I gotta say, when I saw this and I saw the production for it, I thought it looked bad. I thought this looked like crap. I have no real horse in the race for One Piece. I know it's like the book.
Yeah, dude.
And this show kind of made me understand why people like it. But I watched this and I'm like, these actors are likable.
Wow. Do I disagree? I'm not sure if I disagree on that on that point specifically.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
You're not gonna believe this. Had a really fucking good time.
Yes.
Me too,
Yes. Yes, dude.
I like One Piece a lot. You know, I've been on a long hiatus from reading the manga, but like when I was reading it, like I was into it. I wasn't Chainsaw Man into it, but I was enjoying the hell out of it. I like Luffy. I like
Luffy.
it's a U. That's a U and a double F. I don't care how they say it on the show. I don't care how Oda Sensei and I will have a conversation about this. It's not Luffy.
Oda Sensei has it in the anime as Luffy, bro.
We will have a conversation. Okay. It's not Luffy.
Okay.
I think Rora no Zoro.
Zoroark? No, that's Pokemon.
I think Zoro is the coolest character.
Yes.
Ever.
He fucks, dude.
I have a picture saved in my phone of him fighting a guy who is made of blades, and it's the most comic book thing. It could only happen in comics. My point is, anyway, I had a fucking good time.
And Zoro is acted by the actor is Makenyu. That's he just goes by the one name.
Yeah, so it's like Prince.
I thought
my thing about it is it suffers from being a Netflix adaptation.
In what ways?
Well, it's it stinks like the rest of the adaptations.
Ooh, damn.
That's it's good. It's definitely the best of them. But it feels like people wandering around playing pretend, which is a silly thing to say about actors. But it doesn't.
Cale discovers acting.
Like it doesn't feel real. You know what I mean? Like a something should.
There's a level I think of the Netflix shows, the Netflix adaptations of the anime and manga that is camp. Like it feels really campy, and I think that applies to that feeling of it seeming like actors in front of a screen kind of thing. And I felt that, and I thought it worked to some degree for Cowboy Bebop, but I think here it leans into it to the goofy end of what One Piece can be and typically is. That I think it works. There isn't as much of a dissonance as you might have felt for like the the Death Note or the Full Metal Alchemist piece, where it just looks like, oh yeah, they tried to make this look like the anime, and in the process made it feel too almost cosplay like.
In this, I think this one helps though, because Oda, the creator of One Piece, was heavily involved in this.
Yeah.
And pretty much said like, I will not let it happen unless I approve of it.
Thank you, Oda-san.
And it is because I've read to a certain point of it. I have not watched really any One Piece, but I've read some One Piece. And it is pretty much like it's tackling everything. Like I think one episode is like 5 anime episodes. That's how I was tracking it out.
The first one.
And I prefer that. I have an issue with the anime because of how much it it's like a soap opera where it has to repeat itself constantly, like the Dragon Ball Z issue. And that's why that's actually one of my reasons why I don't watch a lot of anime. It's because of that. This is much more compressed. And I'm enjoying it a lot because of that. I think with the manga, I can read that at my own pace, and I can pretty much churn those out like crazy.
The thing is, they do it really well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whereas with like Full Metal Alchemist, it was, and I don't know anything about Full Metal Alchemist, but like you could feel that they were taking like massive chunks of story to make a movie or whatever it was.
Robotters in the chat says, so basically it feels scriptless with no direction, like open rehearsals hour at your local theater. Not at all.
No.
I think it has the. I don't even want to say it has that look. I think it just looks like there's an aesthetic to it that
Yeah.
it's pirates. It has a level of these are costumes to some degree, but I think it works to the extent that you're in this pirate world, and you have to kind of take that at face value.
But it feels lived in.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Like
Yeah.
it feels like goofy Pirates of the Caribbean
Exactly.
In
Yeah,
a-
I think it
in-
did take a lot of that.
in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
definitely not scriptless. Like there's intention there. There's
Yeah.
a story that's going to unfold. I've only seen the first
It's-
episode, and I've had a lot of fun.
I would say it's almost the opposite of what you said, Robotters. I think it's honestly everything has intention. I think the shots, the way it's composed. I think Inaki Godoy, the guy who plays who plays Luffy, phenomenal. Like I get why people like Luffy as a character. People who like Luffy as a character, and I think One Piece fans, and I think this is my realization watching this, are people who did not get enough encouragement as a child.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
yeah.
people who like did not, say, hey, you're allowed to feel emotions if you're happy, as a kid. And Luffy kind of gets to fill that spot for you.
I think one thing about this is, and sort of my problem with this in general, that sort of speaks to what I was saying about how it suffers being a Netflix adaptation and being an anime adaptation in general, is that One Piece is so chock full of larger than life characters.
Yeah.
Bombastic.
Where your two normal people are a guy who walks around in a 3-piece suit and kicks, and a guy who carries a sword in his mouth. And then literally everyone else is so large and bombastic that a normal human being can't portray them well. You know what I mean? Like to the full extent. Like the guy who's playing Luffy it doesn't feel real.
But it is the character.
He is the character, and he's doing a great job. Like you can see this little hint of cockiness, but it doesn't come across as arrogance, but it also doesn't quite fully come across as anime protagonist.
It's stupidly foolhardy, I think.
Yeah.
The other thing that really jumps out to me in this show so far is the amount of practical effects. And
Love it.
The costumes are practical. The sets are practical. Like the CG is like Luffy's like the powers. Like that's CG, obviously. But even that looks good. It's not creepy Fantastic Four movie,
Right.
They saved their budget.
Yeah, it's like all right, Miss MCU, Miss Marvel. Yeah, I guess you could have done it,
To address Catherine and Roboter's question, just like, is this a place to start, even if maybe you have some familiarity and you don't know if, like, you're wary of jumping in? I think this is a good way to Tyler's point. This is a quicker way to consume and get the same beats. It's not to the degree of wacky as the anime or manga might get, but that's just because I think it's difficult to portray those over the top characters, period. Like they are just larger than life, and I think to even try to portray that, it's a step down than what gets done in like voice animation, for example.
And like for me, this kind of lands on like in terms of adaptations for Netflix. This feels like more in the Sandman realm of things, where I feel like there's some actual love of the source material and some preciousness being taken with it. So, like, I may be more episodes into this than I was into the anime.
Damn,
in terms
really?
of storyline wise, yeah.
Oh, at this point.
Yeah, I would probably like 20-something episodes of the anime at this point. I'm at like
what's happening in episode 4 at the moment?
I just got through Syrup Island. with the cat burglars, cat bandits, cat
Shit!
bandit pirates.
Oh, yeah.
Which like it's goofy. Like this
Yeah.
shit's goofy, and I think it knows it's goofy too.
Yes. Usopp, right? Usopp gets introduced
Usopp,
there?
yeah,
Yeah,
Usopp.
okay.
Okay.
Ah, hell yeah.
But it's goofy, but it's fun.
Yeah,
And
it's super fun.
It takes itself seriously where it needs to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna finish this. I'll probably finish this weekend, to be honest, which is wild coming out of my mouth because I was telling a friend of the show, Matt, who was like hyped for this. I'm like, I have no interest in this at all until you brought it up, Marco, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot.
Genuinely, I've put this on our family like watch list.
Yes.
Like
yes.
I will probably watch the first episode again and then I will finish it.
Nice.
And I don't I don't do that. If there's something I don't like, I check out.
Yeah. It's been brought up in the chat, but like the only thing I'm worried about is like it's Netflix. Enjoy the first season.
For me, the thing is, I don't care about that. It made me excited about One Piece. I'll just go read the manga.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Like that shit ain't ending.
And there's also a very cheap streaming platform that you can get not streaming, but like subscription platform that you can get all of this
Yep.
for $1. Like,
let's see. Roboter says, does the anime convey the over-the-top characters are known for in that regard, which is most likely easier to do in animation compared to live action?
Yes.
how far did you get?
I watched the first one.
Just the
yeah, only
first,
same.
okay.
Same.
Well, you know Buggy the
Love
clown
Buggy.
guy.
Buggy.
Yeah.
Love Buggy.
You know his power set, right?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
himself apart, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works. It works in live action. It looks goofy. The thing is, like, all the power sets work if you're okay with it looking goofy, which the show is. They're okay with things looking a little weird.
Yeah.
But the actual CG is good. It's not MCU Disney Plus CG.
Yeah. Casey, trust us. I swear to you, I would not be here speaking so highly of it if it wasn't
big
good.
surprise for me.
Yeah.
Just straight up, I had a great time.
It made me want to go to the beach.
You will want to watch this.
Glad we brought this up while Sean's not here. Avoid the pirate talk.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
brought that in the chat. Yeah. But yeah, I recommend it. This is Comics Pals approved pirate TV show One Piece.
They got the stamp.
Yeah.
What would your Jolly Rogers be?
My crew?
Like the flag?
The flag.
Oh.
It would be skull and crossbones, but the skull part is a taco.
Nice, like taco shell?
Yeah, taco shell. I'd have
Yeah.
a Mexican themed restaurant pirate ship.
Ooh, yeah. Might have a sombrero.
I think mine would be my hair.
It's like avocados everywhere. Barrels full of avocados. Have a sombrero. Like,
Yeah. Just
this
like
might be
we're here to
appropriation.
make. We're here to make some trouble. Here's some guac.
All right.
Damn.
That's
Yeah,
it. We
that's
did
it. That's it. Sean can't be here to stop us from. I forgot I was hosting for a second. But yeah, that's the show, guys. Palace Walls. If you like this like little non-comics thing we do at the that we're tagging at the end of the show, let us know. We're trying something new. I'm enjoying it, but
Maybe, it doesn't have to be reviews, but if you want to give us little topics, Catherine, we just said it works. Catherine, watch it.
Catherine, just watch it, Catherine. Jesus, don't make me send you feet memes again on Instagram.
If there,
What? What?
if you, for this little section of the show, if you want to give us little things to talk about, we'd love to talk about them. Little topics. We're just trying to try different stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just chatting.
Please.
Nice. The Netta. This was great. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, until Saturday, which we have a show that I'm waiting to put together. So let's see. I have ideas on what I want to do. But until Saturday, we'll see you.
See you next time.